Hi everyone, it's John Mitchell. In this video we're going to look at the different management styles and management skills involved in employer relations. We're now looking at just a decentralised employer relations system. Remember now that we're decentralised, the wages and working conditions are determined at enterprise level, where the employer and the employees or their representatives actually negotiate wages and working conditions for a new agreement. Because of that, the human resource manager has a much larger role to play in employer relations in a decentralised system, and so it's their job to ensure there's positive employer relations, because that can maintain relationships, maintain morale, motivation, all those kind of positive things when we're negotiating to try and give the employees what they want, but without, but I suppose, while maintaining the competitiveness of the organisation. Now, in terms of management styles and management skills, that's the way that a manager deals with decision making and uses communication, and how they're actually going to manage the employer relations. So, we're going all the way back to Unit 3, Area of Study 2 here. And that's where we learnt our management styles and management skills, and all we're going to do is bring them into this area of study and look at which management styles and which management skills are most appropriate when dealing with employer relations, or which ones are really important when dealing with employer relations. So if we think back to our management styles, we had our autocratic management style, which was the manager just telling the employee what to do. Then we had persuasive, where they're trying to sell the employees on what decision has been made, and then consultative, where they ask for opinions and ideas from employees, but the manager still makes the decision. Participative, where they all join together in terms of employees and manager join together to make a decision. And then we've got laissez-faire, which is just sort of hands off from the manager, and the employees have virtually full control or ownership over decisions. Now, which style is best? A lot of students ask, well, what style is actually best for this particular dealing with employer relations for this particular area of study? And you've got to remember that much of employer relations centres around bargaining and negotiation. So it's very hard to negotiate when you've only got one-way communication. So as a result, that sort of limits the autocratic and the persuasive styles. So we're looking more at the two-way communication type styles, because employer relations, to have effective employer relations, it needs to focus both on the employees and on the employer or the organisation. And to meet both those needs, it's probably best to say that a consultative or participative is often the best type of style to be used in employer relations because of that two-way communication. Now, some people argue that a participative is too time-consuming, and that's fair enough. You're more than welcome to sort of argue that point, and as a result, they'll focus on consultative. But some people say, well, consultative, the employees you just listen to the ideas of the employees. They're not actually involved in the decision making, so they would argue that a participative is best. And I think in past exams that either one has been accepted in the past. Now, these styles allow for two-way communication where both parties can have their say in decision making. Obviously, the involvement in decision making is slightly different, and that's where people sort of argue the point. But the key there is the two-way communication, and as I said before, it's hard to bargain and negotiate without two-way communication. So if a manager were to use autocratic or persuasive style, it's likely to cause more conflict. So if the manager's saying, well, this is the contract that you're getting, this is all you're getting, we've made the decision for you, then obviously that's going to cause some conflict and possibly some industrial action from the employees and their unions if their ideas aren't heard. And that's why we tend to say that a consultative or participative style is often best during employer relations, especially during the negotiation period of a new agreement or in terms of dispute resolution. Now, in terms of the skills, we're looking back at the management skills that we learnt early on. There are specific skills that would be essential during different aspects of the employer relations. Now, it really depends on the task that's being undertaken. Is it negotiation of an agreement? Is it dispute resolution? Or is it implementing an agreement? And as a result, there's different sort of skills involved in each one of those tasks, and we're going to look at each area. So, we're looking at the role of the human resource manager here, where we went through, in a previous video, went through three areas: negotiating an agreement, implementing an agreement, and then dispute resolution. And we'll look at the different skills involved in those particular areas. So negotiating agreements, obviously it's pretty hard to negotiate without the negotiation skill. Two-way communication, we spoke before about listening to employee needs so that a decision can be made. So not just one-way communication, but two-way communication is important there. Problem solving, because often a problem will come up where we're trying to get around an issue that's being negotiated. It might be that employees want some kind of condition in the agreement, but the employer can't afford that, or it doesn't meet their needs. So therefore, working out, some kind of working out an issue and coming up with a resolution, problem solving. And then delegation. I put delegation in there so, because the human resource manager has lots of other duties to do in their role, and if they're just focusing on negotiation, which would be really important, they often may need to delegate their other human resource management duties to someone else so that they can then focus purely on the negotiation period. When we're implementing agreements, obviously communication is again important. One-way or two-way communication, depending on the scenario that you're sort of given there. Time management, because the things that need to be implemented on time, so that's really important. And as well as delegation, it might be that the human resource manager delegates quite a few tasks to different people. So, might delegate in terms of getting the pay increases done on time. If there's been a pay increase or a wage increase in the agreement, that might be delegated to the payroll officer or to the payroll office and those type of things. So they may not do everything themselves, and as a result they delegate lots of other tasks to the relevant people that are involved in those particular tasks. Finally, resolving disputes, which is the third key role for a human resource manager in employee relations. Again, two-way communication, really important that two-way communication is there, because obviously you're trying to hear both sides. Problem solving / decision making, any one of those is really important, obviously, because it is an issue that you're trying to resolve and you're trying to figure out how to resolve that issue. And again, negotiation is a really important skill there. So just to recap, it's important that the human resource manager to manage the employee relations in a positive manner, to reduce conflict and achieve the best outcome for both the employer and the employee. That's important, not just one or the other. Hopefully, if it's done well, we can have a really positive outcome for both the employer and the employee, where there's improved productivity and also improved wages and conditions. Management styles often used is the consultative and participative style, and the skills, again, communication, I could probably put in two-way communication there, which is probably a better way to put that. Delegation, problem solving, decision making, time management and negotiation are some of the really common skills to be used in employee relations by the human resource manager. So for questions, activities and more in this video, then come on over to teachingbubble.com.